Bakery is a bakery, makes bread, donuts, cookies, cakes, buns, you name it. Well, most of them now are strictly pastry shops. All they have is cupcakes, cookies, and the fancy stuff. And a lot of them buy it already packed in frozen boxes, and they eat it, and that's it. So that's just the difference. But like I said, for home, the best place I have is that Blanktown. Now, Blanktown has most of the bakery items. It used to be the supplier I bought from for 30 years was Spindler out at North Canton. But they went out of business, and Blanktown still has some of the stuff from Spindler's, but they got a new supplier now. And the new guy, they're okay, but they're not quite as good as, look who's walked in the door. Are you lost, Bob?
Yeah, I'm lost.
Is that a chair?
Your ears, what's your name, just talked about him Tuesday night.
Would you like a chair? Sure. Would you like one too? Sure. Oh, aren't you a cutie patootie? Oh my goodness.
What do you say? You gonna say thank you?
Yummy. Yummy.
Now, you guys go ahead, taste it, eat it while the night is warm.
Okay.
Grab me one.
Don't be bashful. They- The dough was a little bit too dry, but they're still okay.
This is with puff pastry rolled out. Okay.
That one?
Okay, yeah. So what? Very good.
Drake?
Jacob?
Little more. Yeah, a little more than mine. It's like live.
The best one is that puff pastry from, there's different ones, but the one from Willard, I think there's Willard. I make sure, what was the name of it? I kept it up there. You buy them frozen.
Okay.
Don't get the ones in the refrigerator. The refrigerator. Pepperidge Farm. And this one dried out.
Eating?
What
Okay.
happens when they dry out, they don't quite puff like they normally
Oh, it's
do.
pretty puffy.
Yeah, but they're not like they should be.
So what is your filling? Raspberry jam. I'm drinking a Bloody Mary and it's making my taste buds fall off. Very good.
On the counter.
Right here.
That way people
Hi.
can stand back here.
Hi.
If you were coming, Roger asked me if you were coming. I said, I don't
For a
know.
short time, I have to go babysit.
Where are they going?
She has a coworker that's worked there forever, that's retiring, they're having a retirement party for her.
And where's he?
They all.
Kevin's putting in the furnace right now with somebody.
And I said,
I
ask
don't
them
know
if you
if
ever
it's,
see you anymore.
What's his name that Brad?
Is that recording already?
Yeah, you said.
No, Kevin's gonna join the party later. I told her I wouldn't get there till 2:30.
You guess.
Or something. Got a scratch with all these.
We ended up going to that play that we fell down.
Okay, you want me to start now?
Okay. Didn't that show up?
Like I said before, you can use any dough. But if you want to make the ones I'm making, you need a good red dough. And what actually the recipe is called Vienna bread.
Vienna bread.
And it's an old, very recipe similar to white bread, except when you make the recipe white bread, you use more sugar and shortening. But if you make Vienna bread, or what they call hard crust bread, you pretty well cut sugar back and shortening. And the main thing is, I brought along 9 out of 10 women who called over the years. My yeast didn't work. Did that happen to you?
Yes.
You know why?
Why?
You're not bright enough to know what to buy. Never buy yeast at Kroger's, Walmart, Dollar Store, or whatever.
Okay.
Because you don't know if it's 6 years old, 5 years old, or whatever. You get one that works so good, and the next time, you might as well throw it out. And the pastry shop I helped out, he bought a case of something, I think it was 50. And he wondered what happened. I looked at it and said, it's no good, we throw it out. Now there's two kinds in the market. Again, you get that Plaintown or Amish have it. The one is that Saf Instant, and the other one is Fleischman's. And they come in a block like that, solid packed, hard. And once you open it up, it'll keep. But you put it in a jar, like a mason jar with a solid lid, close it tight, put it in the freezer. When you bake, take it out of the freezer. It usually takes 5 minutes before you be able to open the jar, because being frozen is hard to open up. Put the frozen yeast right in the dough, mix the dough, close it back up, put it back in the freezer. I got some in there 2 years. They don't go bad. As long as you put it back in the freezer, keep it in there, it keeps. I brought them along. Don't know that next meeting, get little jars, you can divide it up. And that really puffs up, because that's solid. As soon as you cut it open, it spreads apart.
And you'll have to come to the ladies auxiliary.
So-
make it.
That's one of the tricks. And the next one, that most of them don't do, again, you don't have time or whatever. With a mixer, it takes, once you get it together, the liquid and the flour, you gotta mix it at the speed for 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes. Anything less, the dough is not developed. Because most of them take about 5 minutes is enough, 5 minutes is enough, but it ain't. You gotta mix it 10 minutes. And then when you start, you notice I brought the block that had to mix the dough, but I think before 11 o'clock. Let it rise once. Knock it down. Cut it up, roll it. Let it rise again, then finish it up with whatever you make. Because this kind of dough takes that long to work. And all I did is take a piece, roll it out, And I put a little bit of oil on it. It's just, you could actually, at home, just roll it up. I just roll it a little tight because I don't like that table. Should be a wooden table.
I had one of those. Okay.
By doing this, when you break them open to eat them, the inside kind of stretches, and being rolled. My sister always wanted to know why mine stretches like cheese does on pizza or something. I said, I rolled it. Well, she just rolled it like that, which is okay. I always said, at home you can make it any way you want to, because the kids always eat it. But I found out in the bakery, the same people that say at home the kids eat it all the time were the fussiest people when they come bought it. They always say everything had to be perfect, you know. So that was just.
So do you put oil on it when you said you use a wooden board, or are you just putting oil on it because you're on this metal? You do it with the wood board too.
I never worked on metal. That's the first time.
Oh, okay. So you put the oil on when you work
I
on the
put
wood
the
board
oil
too.
on, that way they don't slide.
Okay.
You see, it's a lot easier to make and roll.
What kind of oil do you use?
I don't know. I think vegetable oil, or you can melt butter.
Okay.
At home, I use butter all the time. Use butter or,
How about the original lard?
huh?
Lard,
Lard.
no?
No lard?
It's against the law.
Oh.
Again, white lard, good lard, at Plant Town, again, you can buy it. They got 5-pound container. And that's all I use for pies or anything. I still use it. But in the bakery, they came along and they said you're not supposed to use some of that, but we got the one brush. Did you have another brush by any chance, maybe?
Did you bring another one? Mark, look at his Ryan's box.
Did you look at those stuff?
What's that?
I think we looked back already.
Show.
I think Ryan might have one.
If not, it don't
These
matter.
people watch me go through Ryan's stuff.
We have witnesses.
No?
No, I don't see a rush.
We don't have any back on that shelf.
I would think there'd have to be a rush on the
Not necessarily, we
No,
don't.
that's.
Yeah, I guess.
That's.
I thought I seen where I use a brush, that's why I.
There used to be some.
That's all right,
What?
that's okay.
Brushes?
That's no problem. Now, them are what's called in German, it's Salzkipfel.
Yeah.
Now, that's one of the items that sell, I think last I heard it was something like 200,000-300,000 at the Munich Oktoberfest.
Wow.
I mean, that's one of the top sellers. Now, I got dough to have to show
Wow, that's a lot.
out of the same dough what things you can make.
You need another one, Tony?
This one now,
You need another one?
I use that then maybe. Again, you can make them any size you want to. Right now on the cooking show for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and that's all they have on. To make the dinner overs.
Oh, yeah.
Like a pretzel.
That's just a sink, slip off. Good.
The New Era restaurant in Akron is the only place that I can find pulled dough strudel. Do you know of any other place in the area?
Across from Plastic Furniture in Worcester.
Step
Uptown
two,
Worcester.
step by step two,
Uh,
and they call
Oh, they make all kinds of plastic.
Yeah.
Step
I
two.
can't think of the name of it.
Everything Rubbermaid it used to be.
No, step two is
Heard of it?
that they the ones that follow the other one.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Rubbermaid?
it used to be
Huh?
everything
Rubbermaid.
Rubbermaid.
Yeah, Rubbermaid. Across the street from Rubbermaid, there's a Hungarian pastry shop. And the mother started, I know her, and she even got some recipes and that, did a great job, and then the daughter took over. Now, I don't know if she's still alive or not, but she did great, and then the daughter took over, she about doubled the price. The last time I was there, it wasn't quite as nice, but she had all kinds of strudel and all kinds of things. I imagine it's still there, I don't know.
Is it called?
If the strudel dough doesn't stretch,
What's that?
if the old fashioned strudel dough
Yeah.
doesn't stretch, like over the table and stuff.
Oh, there's no,
Is that because they use?
that you don't find no more.
I know, but
It's
I have
okay.
a recipe for it, but I used to make it with grandma and it was so easy. I can't get it to stretch.
you need a cheesecloth to do it.
Well, I have
Well, I
that,
know.
that's not the problem.
When I was a kid, we always dropped it on the floor
You-
to make sure it
you-
stretched well.
You guys, some of you do Catherine's Betcha, but Catherine,
Yes.
you know, well, she made a film with all the kids. And they have all that, you got a film probably,
Yeah.
how to make them.
Yeah.
Well, they all tried it afterwards.
Yeah.
And I don't know how my mother did it. I never made it, I never tried it. First of my fingers were not too big. But she could take that big table and flop it and have it just out of this world. It's a trick to it.
Grandma could.
Either you got it or you don't.
You have to have the touch. The touch.
When Catherine Halliburton showed us, she said that it had a lot to do with
But
the.
they have to, my kids all have to film. And they usually get it out and try to
And it
make
was so
it
easy
more.
doing it when we were in
I filmed my first
So I took it. And mine was like
2006.
But New Era restaurants, they have that.
I just go around filming.
And they're both close on 71.
That's the only separate.
It's an act.
I put it on. I have to watch it to see what's on here. That's one thing I've done.
People that I know they call something.
Is that what the nuts in it?
Yes.
I like that. Let's see, I can make those.
My sister won't give me the ball. She still has it. She won't give me the ball. I just do it over a old cotton recipe.
Yep.
Any of you ever go to Steve's Dakota Grill?
Yeah.
Now, they have roads similar to this, but their roads, there's no sugar and no shortening at all in it. They stay white when you make them. And they serve roads with their dinners. And
No sugar.
Sugar.
They're good. What's in them?
now I need one volunteer who wants to do that. You want to do it? Okay.
She'll wash her hands. Whatever you need. Well, people come back to here if you wanted.
Yeah, if you can't see, come in. I'm fine, how about you? There's lots of room over there. How about you? Who's that? Who's there?
Is that the way of your camera?
Who is that? Is that Rudolph? Yeah. Wow, does he have a red nose?
I've never been told how to do
Where's your nose?
And this is just a beaten egg, right?
No, did you watch what I did?
Wait, yep. Yeah, there's your nose now. Look, I have it.
Not what you want to do is take it off.
That's your nose.
Too much on there.
Okay.
Wash and sprinkle that on.
Is that butter?
Egg, yeah.
Egg wash.
Egg wash. Just egg. What is it?
Egg wash.
Just like a beaten egg.
Just to make it sticky so that the salt and the seeds stick to
Is
it.
this the white egg? Oh, wait, that's it.
What is that you're putting on there?
Is that
Egg
caraway
wash.
and salt?
Yep.
Mm.
Caraway.
So it
So you can make all kinds of things out of the same dough. And this one twist, you wouldn't believe it. I learned that when they braided my sister's hair, like 70, 80 years ago. Grandma always had to do it, and she always did it so mean, and I had to help her, and that's how I learned how to braid really. Now the trouble is, see, that stuff pretty well has to sit close to an hour before you can bake it.
So everybody go have a couple shots.
Now, if you have any questions, ask.
How long does it take to bake those then?
About 15 minutes.
Is that the same dough you can
Because-
make a cherry cake with, or plum?
The what?
Is that the same dough you can make the cherry cake or the plum?
Pfannkuchen?
No.
No, it's a different.
You need a little more sugar and a little more shortening of butter in it. And this dough is made with water. And anytime you make anything, like for any kind of kuchen, you want to use milk or milk powder. Better use milk powder because you need this dough is crispy, and for anything like that, you want to.
Can you use this dough for Nissen,
What's that?
for Nissenstrudel? Can you use this
No,
for
I
Nissenstrudel?
wouldn't recommend it. In most of the recipes, you find cinnamon rolls. You know, to make cinnamon rolls, and that dough is usually good for the strudel. The cinnamon roll dough. Because it's just like, I don't say you couldn't, you could make it, but it'd be crispy, the dough would, hard to cut it.
Where did you say you got the yeast?
Huh?
The yeast, I didn't hear where you said you got it at. You said you can get it at the grocery store, so where do you get it, online?
Blanktown.
Okay, okay. I saw it.
Blanktown or any of the Amish stores.
Oh, that's.
I
what
found
it
that
is.
most of the Amish stores carry stuff because their people still,
Bakery.
they still bake the old-fashioned way. And they also still use lard too. The Amish use mostly all only on lard.
Right.
Over the years, I had a few friends, we had some furniture made, and we became friends with them. And they always asked me, how do you do that? And I said, well, I tell you, probably in the 70s, probably early 70s, the law came out, all vegetable shortening in the bakery. And before that, we used a combination. Well, I bought it in big cans, I think it was 120 pounds. Well, I was going to throw it out, the inspector came around and said you can't use it. And in guidance, we had Dr. Borowitz, nicest man in the world. And he came in the bakery, never before, and and there's quite a few, and he says, do you use all vegetable shortening? And I said, yeah, because he was very connected with Ohio State, and he figured he'd ask me. And I said, yeah. So he went and got 2 loaves of home style, and I got 4 loaves of bread, which I didn't know. And about a week later, he came and he says, congratulations, Tony, you get the Jewish business. Because Jews won't eat lard. For some reason, that day, I used all vegetable shortening. I don't know how. The man upstairs told me what. He took that bread down to Columbus, to Ohio State, and had them check the whole thing all out.
Analyzed it.
And they gave, then he showed me the paper. It's all vegetable shortening. I bet it took me, I don't know how many years. And I finally said, we were together at the Elks Club. I said, Doc, how's the bread taste? And I told him that what happened. And he just laughed. But the Jewish were very funny. They came in, when they come in the bakery, because we had about 10, 15 families in Guyana. And they asked right away, do you use this, do you use that, do you use that? And it wasn't just them. Now we got a new bunch of people come along, and I got a daughter that way. They eat all that vegan stuff. Well, I've been baking an awful lot of vegan stuff. And it's just the cycle in the bakery goes just all the time. But I still make my baked bread back at home. I still make all my own. I have yet to buy any baked goods in the store. And I still think that's one reason I'm 92 years old. And don't eat no chemicals.
What?
That's right.
Chemicals. Because if you would know what's in that bread that you buy in the store, you wouldn't believe it. When they first came out with preservatives, this friend of mine, salesman, came and he says, he had a liquid in a gallon bottle and also in powder. He says, I'll show you. And I said, what's that? He took, because they had to sell it, because the law says you have to use preservative. He took a coffee cup and poured in a little more of what oil it did. Threw a penny in there. And I watched the penny disappear.
Oh my.
That's how strong that's alone. Now you're supposed to use like a teaspoon for 50 loaves of bread. And he says, all my baked goods, buns, bread, you name it, the yeast product, if you have them on a counter or in a bread box, in 3 days, in this temperature here, they would start mowing. So you can tell 3 days without the preservative. You go to Kroger's or anything in Walmart and that, they have it on the shelf for, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or 2 months. It's all piled up in there. Now you can imagine what's in there to keep it that way. Because anytime you mix flour and sugar or shortening, it'll mold. I mean, if you can't help it, that's what happens.
Do you make a good German rye egg and beef going together?
I've been seeing, I make it from home, and I'm the only one eating it.
Oh.
And I get so, my wife don't like rye bread, she don't like them seeds, and it had to be somebody, you know,
Yeah,
different ones.
I grew up on German, that's what we
That-
did. And
My favorite, yeah.
I cannot stand this rubber bread.
I still make rye bread every so often. And I'm the only one that eats it. It's same with whole wheat. I like whole wheat bread.
Yes.
And she'll eat that, but she still wants her white bread. She's been my boss for over 70 years.
Where do you get your rye flour at? Like, it sounds, you've been looking for rye flour and you haven't been able to find it in the stores.
The last Andrew, the one I do work here, ordered it through one of the, and it's actually German rye flour that's in a, I think it was 2, 3. They shipped it from.
I see. Yeah, we've been looking for, she's been wanting to make rye bread.
It was, I think it was Google or something, I don't know what it was. I'm not into that stuff. But he wanted the rye bread, and he went on there and ordered it. A day later, we got it. And
Nice.
that's what I had. You can get whole wheat, but very seldom you find dry flour. Except you go to the Amish.
Have you ever made semmels? Like
A what?
the semmels,
Oh,
like
yeah.
in Germany?
The nice crispy ones.
Yes.
Like you get in.
So
Old
can
Country.
this dough do something similar to that?
That's a different dough.
Different
again.
dough?
It's one with less shortening and sugar in it, but it's really soft. It's a very soft dough, and that's one of them doughs. The set will take probably 5 hours
Oh, wow.
because you have to really get the gluten developed where it gets very stringy, and then to make them up and add the raise and that. Where I learned it in Germany, they had a special peel knife, and they actually put it in hot water though, and got them out and let it set. They put it out, but that's when the peel puts the stuff in the oven. You know, you didn't have all this stuff here. Because it's very hard to make something that tastes with their ovens. Because all the old bakery ovens, everything was peeled in. I mean, like the oven I had in Guy, I had 12 shelves. They were this long.
Wow.
And the oven was almost size of this room here. And it made 15-minute circle.
Okay.
And you peel the stuff in there, 15 minutes when it comes around, whatever it takes, it was done. And they're tore it down. The last one they had was Park Avenue Bakery. Had one, and Geyers bought it and put it over at the guy in the store. And when they sold it, they tore that out and threw it away too.
Oh.
So I think the only place that still has an oven is Buckeye Bakery on 4th Street.
But they don't make any more bread. They don't bake any more bread.
They quit making bread, but you know what happened? The guy was making it, got too old, couldn't do it no more, and women don't know how to make it there, and they tried it, and I was in there, it's been a couple of years already, but they said they make it 1 day a week. And when they had George, her brother, is the one had the other bakery on by the tracks.
Yeah.
Orange Street.
Schneider's.
Orange Street, Schneider Bakery.
On Orange
Yeah,
Street.
Orange.
Yeah.
And when he got sick, he had closed up, he helped them a little bit. And what they made, oh God, you couldn't, first of all, you couldn't eat it, and second of all, you couldn't sell it, so they finally quit making it. So that's what happened, and that's
I just want a good semmel.
G something, George
Google.
Googled something, was his name, and the sisters.
Eagle.
That's the reason he bought Schneider's out, because they were fighting like mad. They didn't get along, their family didn't get along, so he opened his own, and the two sisters had one uptown. And I think they still have it. And Rod, the two Rod brothers, helped them, and that's where they made bread. Well, the one died, I don't know if the other one still lives or not, and that's when they ended up quit making.
the salt kibbles, I know you said you made them for a trek many years ago for one of the first ones. Do you bake them all fresh, or do they freeze well, or would you like make them and freeze them and then bake them before you?
Most everything you can freeze,
Okay.
but you have to have a warm room and steam.
Okay.
When you take them out of the freezer, you make sure they're covered, because if you don't, they get a crust on it and they won't rise. And have a steam place. And what's good, in the regular ovens, you can put them as low as you can, and in the bottom, put a pan with water, and then just slowly let them raise. They'll be okay.
Okay.
Personally, I rather bake them and freeze them and then take them out, just warm them.
Just warm
Like
them.
at home, the buns or hot dog buns or hot rolls, I just take them out. If I know we're gonna have sandwiches tonight, but 2 hours before, I turn the oven on a little bit. Don't put them in the microwave. The microwave, they get mushy. But the oven, just get them crispy and crust on.
That sounds good for the trip. Sure. I can do that.
It should be good close.
Dude, this is like
Yep.
what I do.
This is just bread dough, right? So you can make the same thing with sourdough bread dough?
Moni, you gonna show us how you make your sourdough?
Huh?
Moni's gonna show us how she makes her sourdough.
Jessica will, hers always come out better.
I heard that last time I was here, they had sourdough was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Or were they making sausage?
I showed her. I've got Ollie's. What's that? Oh, he didn't give a recipe, but he said like any bread dough, he said like Vienna bread dough. We do the same thing. He did make the bread. He made it that way. You mean for
Yeah, and you can do that.
Is that caraway seeds with sugar?
Yeah, no, not sugar.
Salt?
Salt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, don't put sugar in.
But I would absolutely love to have, you know,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to cruise this
What's the ratio of salt to caraway seeds? Half and half?
Whichever way you like it. If you like it real salty, more salt. If you don't, you don't. It's strictly, I just guess it. I just put it in and shake it up and guess. It's really, if you like it real salty, more salt. If not, you know.
I'm not sure, but I thought he was.
I was 13 and a half years old. The war was just coming in. Naturally, there's no food over in Germany. And they said, well, you have to learn a trade. You graduate from 8th grade, because you only went 8th grade, graduate with a high school diploma. But you either have to learn a trade, whatever you picked. And you worked half a day in a trade, and half a day you went to school. And in school, they taught you, like mine was business, the half day. You had to learn everything but flour, but pay money, you name it. Well, the guy I went to was Herman Heisler. Never forget it. I never got his handwritten letter. And the family, I was there 3 years. I've never seen a recipe. After 6 months there, we mixed all the doughs. We had bits as big as this, all by hand. He bought 2 mixers, big mixers. He found out you have to use electricity. Well, the help was a lot cheaper. He wouldn't use a mixer. But that's how I learned it. Never seen a recipe. He always kept his recipes in the back pocket. And we made hundreds and hundreds of pretzels, a lot of salt pretzels. And I wanted that recipe the worst way. When I was towards the end but finished, he says, you got it figured out. He said, everything you learn by watching. You had to watch what he put in, and if you say it goes to 3 years, it takes you to find out. But then after I finally graduated, he gave me a bunch of recipes. And then they made the arrangement for your masters, and they wanted me to go to northern Germany, by Hamburg, to a vacation place. But there you had to work 16 straight hours. And I said no, and I ended up, there was an opening in the Black Forest, Obendorf and Schwarzwald. And that's where I got my master's, and that was the best thing I could do. Now that place was a cafe, they had all fancy stuff. And they had a grocery store, a bakery, and a cafe. Learned how to make ice cream, and you name it, I mean, the whole works. And it was one of the things you learn. Well, naturally, then in '51, we came over here, and none of us spoke a word English.
Yeah.
Well, old Dan Schneider owned Park Avenue Bakery, and he found out there was a bakery, and I think 2 days after we got here, I got the job. Well, I went in and there was them 2 yo-yos in there, the bakers. He had work, and I worked with nights. Go in at 5 o'clock till 7 in the morning. Well, they tried to pull every kind of trick because I didn't know what they were talking about. So, but I knew the baking, and it battled for a while, and I finally got into it. Dad ended up, a bunch of them got a job. There was 5 of them at Prior Manufacturing. And I started playing soccer, and I went to Dan, and I said, hey, I won't be able to get in by 5 o'clock. I said, we're playing soccer in Cleveland. And he said, du rutschnast och bist in Deutschland, bist in America, and you work here. In Germany, he told me all that. There's no way. And I said, I quit. So I went to work in the factory for a while. And what was really funny, the guy he was okay, but he's the one that started the cookie factory in Ashland. Archery cookies.
My son.
Archery cookies. And he sold the bakery then to his brother Pete. And Pete and I were very good friends. We went to convention together. But Dan went out to either Utah or Oregon someplace. And they started archery out there. He had his own airplane delivering cookies all over the West. But like I said, that's back in the 50s. So I don't know whatever happened. But he was the original, one of the original guys that started archery cookies in Ashland.
My son's doing a good job.
So you never went to
Kevin
Hamburg?
used to work
What's
there.
that?
You never went to Hamburg?
Bakery or,
To where?
Hamburg?
No.
oh, Lance.
But they told me how he had to work. He worked only 6 months. That was all vacation area where at that time, people from the States and from all over just came there, and it was all fancy. And when they said work 16 straight hours, 7 days a week.
The reason I'm asking, I come from
Yeah. And it was not Hamburg, it was
On the outskirts.
outskirts of Warner, with a fancy place.
Yeah.
I was up there, my uncle actually ended up got discharged here. And I always kid everybody, I said, they can't believe it, they say you served them. When I came over here, I got drafted here. In the Korean time, I was drafted. And I always tell everybody, they said, you kid? I said, no, I got discharged from the German Army, World War II, and then I come over here to draft me for the Army. But I was in a, you're not allowed to say it. Over there, I was in a Hitler Youth.
Oh, you had to.
Hey, you had no choice. And because the first thing my dad said, after throw away the uniforms, you know, I had to hit the uniform. I still have a picture, but.
I was wondering if White didn't cover those, did you want them to be crusty or something?
You want something?
But she was wondering why you didn't cover them.
I'll leave it plain, I think it's called.
Hi, Sailor. How are you? Oh. Who are you looking for?
Papa?
Papa?
There he is.
There he is. Would you give me the recipe for the rye bread?
Well, I used to know the Lord, but I don't. I'd have to write it down.
Okay.
At one time I could remember, but I can't, I don't want to miss something out of it.
Okay.
I'll,
But I'd like a nice party.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. If you get it, send it to me.
When my mom was here, visiting, she said, you have rubber brand, that
Keep
sticks to
reminding me,
you.
so, next time I'm over there, I'll bring your best, you know,
Okay.
give it to one of the bosses.
Give it to
All the
Jessica.
bread over here, tastes like.
Get the ladies auxiliary.
Yeah, I'll call you and remind you. We'll get it from you.
I ordered
I
some
just
from
take a picture of
Canada,
it.
Oh, yeah?
Dinkelmeyer,
Was
but
it
I
that
paid
good?
a whole lot for shipping.
Clean up.
I know. The Brits have don't.
But Dinkelmeyer is just like Germany. And I went on Amazon and I ordered Dinkelmeyer on Amazon.
I love it.
You can't push it.
Well, I'm German.
Is that a shot or something?
So there's a lot of recipes.
Like a shot or something?
No.
My folks and my grandparents.
For my late husband, he was born in Yugoslavia.
My mom always said that have
I
a shot
worked
of
for
brandy
India for
before you make
5
it.
years.
It's the first step in every one of the recipes. Shot of brandy.
Let's see, my dad came over here from Poland.
Greetings. Salutations.
I know that's Senator Schuster, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Through and through.
He's right on time. It's 1 o'clock. It's Schuster time.
Well, they don't change.
It's 1:44.
No, I didn't change my clock. I'm 15 minutes early.
Okay, yeah.
You got projects to do, you gotta get your projects done, right?
No, if she told you to do it, you better do
Well,
it.
hell yeah, you know what I'm
You
talking
better
about.
do it, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
recipes that are both in Hungarian and in English. So it's really good.
Warm it up.
Along with the book.
No, the oven is on.
The book is not
I just
published.
had this down there, I'm gonna put
Oh, cool.
It tells you like the history of like why state breakfast was done the way it was done back in the old country.
See, my mother-in-law, she made the good food, and she made all kinds of stuff. And when she baked it, I go to buy it.
Yeah, well, I got grandma's like strudel habits.
See, I don't know what temperature it's there, but we had to keep it around 100 all the time. I mean, it was, in the summer it got hotter, but by the oven especially, 120, sometimes 110. But close to around 100, you had to keep it to keep the stuff ready. But when it's cool like that, it's just hard to take too long.
Yeah.
But that's,
I still make.
That's what he did.
That's what I have to do. Because we keep the house at 65 in the winter.
oh,
And I want to bake bread, so I'm going to make bread.
Bob, you'd be surprised.
Well, I'm just
My
like,
great grandkids already, they want this in it, they want that in it.
farmhouse.
Right now, I never did in the bakery, I never did any of that stuff to sell. But right now, I put every kind of seasoning in bread, you name it. All different. They like it okay, I don't go for it, but.
Do you make your egg bread?
Egg bread, yeah, I just ate the last slice, 20 of those. That's still one of my specialties, real specialty was egg bread. And I got a son-in-law, he's been making egg bread for months and years. He was bought a mixer, he's having a heck of a time. I just can't get anybody, there's a trick to it, but once you eat it, my sister's 90th birthday was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And when you're that old, you don't buy presents no more. But my niece, her daughter, Esther, says, please, egg bread. And I got a daughter in Akron. When I make egg bread, their husband ain't allowed to touch it, the kids ain't. She gets it, hides it in the freezer, takes 2 slices out at a time, and boy, you better not touch it. Esther said, she told Bill, you're in trouble if you eat hold it. That's all. It's special.
If it's just an egg heavy bread, like a challah or something.
I was in Frankenmuth yesterday, and I came home to our third last on the bus.
Any other questions?
Yeah. When you make Cremeschnitten, okay? Cremeschnitten,
Yeah.
this is just how to cut it so that it doesn't squish. What's the trick?
I said your filling is, you have to get the filling, you don't spread. And I just mentioned earlier, if you have cake crumbs, cookie crumbs, grind it and put it in the filling. And egg whites holds it. You have to mix it real good. And the other thing is, I don't know what dough you use to make them.
Well, I make a puff pastry, homemade
The
puff pastry.
You make your own. You get puff pastry shortening.
I don't know what that
Or you
is.
use regular shortening.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I use butter.
That's it. But the reason it has butter, has water in it.
Okay.
And the puff pastry shortening I used to get them in the 5-pound blocks. That's very dry, that's like dried cottage cheese.
Oh,
See, when you ever use regular cottage cheese, it's water,
Yes,
it
too
runs.
wet.
But they have dry cottage cheese. And they also have the dry shortening for that. Okay? Because with making with butter, it's almost hard. I tried to have trouble and I couldn't make it at home. I go buy Pepperidge Farm in the freezer. They have it in the freezer.
right.
And that's what I use here.
Oh, okay.
And that's, for me, that's about the best. And I like the jelly I use a non-spread jelly. I mean, look for whatever you're filled with and try to find some non-spread. It's hard to find, but to go to a specialty store, you find different places. They used to have more of them, but they're hard to find. The only place you really get anywhere is Amish places. And they're funny. There's some of them have it, some of them don't.
Yeah.
There's one up there, North Canton, Ohio, really have everything. And that's the only thing if I look for. Because otherwise I have the same problem. Have the same. The only thing I say, whatever filling, make sure add some cake crumbs and grind them real fine and add to it an egg white, not the egg yellow, just the egg white.
Right. Okay.
Because that's the only thing I can tell you.
Yeah, because it's always, you have the two legs and
Yeah.
then you can't cut straight squares.
You have to keep trying, I guess, keep trying. And like I said, the best I found to hold things together is some cookie crumbs, dry them real dry, and grind them or cake crumbs or whatever, and add that with your filling and with egg whites. Egg whites holds it together, so.
I'll try, thank you.
That helps.
I had my grandma's recipe and I made it. She would get perfect squares. Yeah. Really excited about this.
Copy that's Homer. Copy that's Homer. Yeah.
Oh, the nuts.
That's out of the center of the water now. Not working.
Okay.
It has less sugar and short.
Oh, you're talking about flour?
The bread and the dough that we had has less sugar in it.
Sugar and short. You know, it'll make crispier, You can adjust it, you know. Because most of it,
You can't get that at a regular store.
I collected a lot of, like this mullet box. I've been going to, I don't know how many over the years.
Like Sons of Herman and.
And I went to Office and Dusty for example, library, they had me up there with no kind of books. And then I always get a book, they put a book out, and I have a bunch of them. And most of the recipes for bread are about the same. They're a little different. And like I said, you can adjust your own. If you think you're too much sugar, don't put sugar in it, you know. And same, I use very little milk because milk really makes the dough,
Yeah.
what do you call it, soft. So I use mostly one. And you play with it. I did that for years and years. I make my own, the rest will be up there. All the frosting, I made cake frosting, belly cakes. I did, my sister, 50 and 60, but we belly cakes. And I did my own ice cream.
Tony, you were talking about egg bread. Tony, you were talking about egg bread. What is egg bread?
What is egg bread?
It's good.
What does it say?
Egg bread, yeah.
Is that like monkey bread? No.
Oh, okay. It's about, it looks like eggs.
It's a bread with eggs.
Oh, egg.
And then you roll it out,
My wife's mother, she could make
similar to this here,
she real good.
you twist it. The pan, then like use the egg washer for the cherry
Well, we
seeds.
did,
I use this water and use sesame seed.
yeah.
And roll it in sesame seed, put it in the pan, raise and bake it. And it's,
Is it a
what's the
sweet
color
bread?
that?
Is it sweet?
No, it's just taste-wise, it's about same as regular bread. Except it has the flavor from the sesame seed. Because you're making it, that's what gives it the extra flavor. And it's especially good for toast. I mean, you can die for it for toast.
Yeah.
Is it more like a challah, like a eggy?
It's all by itself, it's
My wife, she passed on.
I played with that in 56 or 57, it breaks pastry at our shopping center. I got out of service and somebody says, well, you can't make an egg bread. They heard the egg bread somewhere in New York or something. And that's what I played around with it. I was there for 4.5 years running that West Park Shopping Center bakery. And I got it, and I had my own place, made it. And I've been, every week I get a call. How do you make these bread? I can show them and tell them, but it's a complete different story. Because Ed makes it all the time, and he's got so it's pretty close, but he's still at home. Some of the things are just hard. It's hard to do. All about it after that.
That's the big red G acre.
I only guessed. I only guessed that we're
Is it on low or high? The price should be on low. The fan on top.
But it's okay.
They look good. Are they a little warm?
They just came out of the oven.
Oh, I always do. Always do.
Joe, he did, we'll keep you.
So the flour you use, can you buy that at a regular store, or you have to go special to get that?
Right.
He gets a lot of stuff.
Good bread flour is the only place you get it.
But it's.
Amish. Anything you bake with at Kroger's, I would never recommend it. Or Walmart.
What?
Because you don't know how old it
What's that?
is. You know, they're, like I mentioned about yeast.
Yeah,
Fish.
it's just not the same.
No.
Everybody dressing up?
Yes.
He's waiting.
It's supposed to.
Dan.
When you bake it, is that?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I
Now
thought.
it's hot.
Come out of that.
We'll share it with you.
Oh.
We went over here.
See what happens when you have no patience.
No, I don't. When the bread sitting there in front of me, it's like, no.
Yep.
Go ahead, sorry.
Not yet.
We're gonna see how it goes.
There used to be a bakery real close where I lived on Main Street.
Excuse me.
Oh, this is good.
You're gonna split one. Well, even now.
You.
Apple Hill. Oh, yes. Would you like that last one? I can get it for you. Sweet one fits another one.
Oh, wow.
The heat.
Yes, those are good.
No, those are good.
That's what it's supposed to do. Pull out cheese.
Yeah, my dad used to always like that morning.
We just went to have.
Should've let me get it for you.
You'll break it.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Always nice meeting you.
I know. We had
And enjoy the rest of the holidays.
I should have put the other one.
And,
That's all right. You just gotta watch.
nah, not at all.
It's their eggs green. It'll turn eggs green. Scrambled eggs, it'll turn greens green.
Yeah, really, the guy in America has slaves.
Oh.
That say, I have
Yeah.
things, but that's all they have. They have a bunch, that was called for 400, instead of 350.
I was big enough, it was like 8,
Didn't say we can make these.
All that work
Without a
was
state
gone just
stone,
like
they were
that.
talking about. There was one term, I used to hear my mom, and when my mom and dad got together, it was in the and one time I remember to my mother, don't ever say that again. So it must have been bad. Whatever. Well, there aren't some bad words. Figures that would be the one I
They did two
picked.
things like this. And they was always filled up. And, like being a bread man, it was all peeled and peeled, you know, that's why you get the crust. Because you cannot bake bread and get a good crust on the trays. Because you gotta peel it right on heat. And now,
So you just put it on the rack, is that what you do? Put it on a rack, you don't put it on a pan.
oh, the,
I don't feel good.
I have trays like that, you put the loaves on there, cornmeal. Put it on cornmeal, then I have a peel. You take the peel and peel it into the oven. That's how you bake it. The oven has a panel, little panel thing. Now at home, I got a pizza stone, whatever they call it. They got it from women that
Kitchen chef.
pepper chef. Now I put that in the oven and make sure it gets hot. And then that's how I put my pizza on there or something. Otherwise, we can put them in on that, which is better taste, right?
I know he's turning it around, that's a good idea too. It's not big.
Yeah.
It's your modern technology.
Yeah. Doesn't work for price.
When I started, you had the big oven, so wood in there, wood, and coals. Before you bake it, you pull that out, put your stuff in it. And double oven. And when you have the coals, you bake it first, then you put it on top of the finish.
It actually started on the top, because the wood is on the top, so you have it like this.
Cold and the heat was on the bottom shelf.
You did exist.
They had Park Avenue Bake, still had one of the office.
I don't remember where Park Avenue Bakery was.
Like there was, Madison Theater, you know where Madison Theater was at?
Theater.
Between,
Theater.
Fingers and
Yeah.
You know where that,
Okay.
when that,
I don't remember it being there. I must have been too
that
young.
store that trouble went down, the guy died, the army store and all
the
that.
museum.
Yeah.
Right next to it.
Put me in bed.
See, that time they had Ohio Theater, which were, the local theaters. Then they had the Madison Theater, and then they had the Park Theater. On either corner of
Over there.
the courthouse.
Yeah.
Then they had Vince Theater down to Main Street, down to Flat Street. They had 4 theaters, regular theaters.
Wow.
Yep. They rode ground all many years ago. That's when it was safe in Mansfield. We used to close the Liederkranz and head for the Ritz nightclub or the Fergus Note or whatever. Nobody bothered you. Oh, Fritz, I could be close the Liederkranz, we had one of the harmonicas. We marched down the France. Played poker, the poker games and that was all they could do.
Since there's a short one to do that game, we should try.
instructions.
See, they should be, if I'd have had time, they should be about twice as big. That should be almost double the size.
They're good, they're good.
I got it all in an hour. You should read about 2 hours. But I hope you learned something.
You guys did, thank you very much.
If you have trouble, call me. Give me an excuse to come to the meeting. Where's the other half?
She's with her mom and her sister. Yeah, she was gonna come, but, I said, I'm coming anyway, so.
Did Elsa tell you to stop by?
Yeah, she loved it too. Thank God for doing that.
She had a heck of a time. She couldn't turn the dang on TV off. She couldn't find the remote. And we're there. She went all over the dang house looking for the remote. And I said, don't worry about it. We should yell.
Yes. That's good. You gotta stop by again, she'd love to have you.
I probably will. You want, Mom?
Yep.
Let's get Rick.
This is my.
I know.
Rick.
I know.
Brother Tony.
Nick said he saw you both in church when he had Mexican mass, and he says, you ever see your old buddy, you must have talked to him or something. He had mass there, and I said, God, that's
Well, thank you, I appreciate
Yeah, I
that.
You come
Well, that's been a long time. I don't know that. She can't go, and today I came over here, I hope she's okay. She don't want me to leave. She gets all tired and all carried on. And, so that would pay the help.
Well, sourdough too, just getting
She
it started
finally got
and
up here,
having
she
it.
could leave most of the time. And she
You
got
got
up.
that as friendship bread that you.
Yeah, it's kind of synthetic.
Yeah, they do.
That's
That makes
how
sense.
Well, the last
That's
night,
how
they
sourdough
doesn't
kind
want
of
to leave it
is.
right.
Yeah, it's like long.
7 feet
I was
apart,
looking
yeah.
at, and then when I got a job, yeah.
I thought that was
like,
the
what do I do?
Well, this lady,
I just divided it.
Lady,
into
grocery
grocery
I said,
friends.
you gonna be okay?
Just started her back picture.
She said, I didn't cry.
Yeah, but I have
No.
a work lady that does it, and then she pulls it out and makes it all
So
okay.
I just can't. I usually try not.
Well, I know sourdough, you can freeze it or you can hydrate it too. I've never done it.
I'm still kicking.
You know, I put mine in the fridge and I leave it for 2-3 days at a time
I
sometimes.
mean, it's scary.
I don't know, it's funny, I don't need to make bread all the time.
I like to
Or if you don't feed it, you start growing gluten,
Feel old.
you're on a diet, and so one of the things I kind of.
Yeah, I'm still, I can't complain. I'm still got a
I've had some, I had a bagel this morning. I've had
Yeah, well,
a
that's
bunch of bread here. I've had months worth of bread. I like your shoes. They're cute. It's hot. Is that hot?
the one.
Jay,
Yeah,
okay,
that
make
was-
sure that. Look at all those knots. Knots.
Yeah, you should get in the picture. Okay, you get it out, we'll get a picture of you. Tony, look in there. Stand by your rolls, I'll get a picture of you.
Oh, I don't want my.
We gotta put it in.
Give her.
Yeah. We get God's our noodles, huh?
Yeah. Perfect.
Now you.
I did not.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, somebody wants to take a picture.
They're warm? Oh.
Take it, take it knock. Thank you. Come on, baby. And it's all the same, it's all the same. Dough, just the way he's knotting it up.
Like I said, you can make so many things.